Regardless of what my initial impressions are of Sasuke, he at least shows at this early stage in the tale that he's definitely a formidable opponent.
Number 7 of Naruto. This is Decision of Kakashi. It will be.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and adventure-filled tale of Naruto. Our last chapter, and really the last couple, have focused mainly on this challenge that has been placed in front of Sakura, Sasuke, and of course Naruto. Naruto, a couple of chapters ago, was the first one to really kind of go down. Well, actually, in the last chapter, he wound up getting caught not once but twice, actually, in a trap. And is hanging by his feet. Sakura, we don't know what happened, if she got attacked, captured, fainted, ran away, or what. And Sasuke, at the end of the chapter, looks like he's going to go head-to-head with Kakashi. So, that is how the chapter left off. That's where this one picks up. And this one was definitely a good one, and I think it really showed the skills, at least right now, of Sasuke, and the fact that regardless of what your opinion is of him, at least in this moment in time, he is head and shoulders ahead of the class and above at least the other two that we've seen, Naruto and Sakura. So it starts out, and of course he's, face to face, about to go, toe to toe with Kakashi, and he talks about the Uchiha Clan, and they're gonna, and she's, more or less like, my family name and this and that, and I'm gonna take you down type of thing. And so Kakashi's like, all right, whatever, buddy, bring it, And it's kind of cool because he's actually doing a good job. Several pages, it's flipping through, and he's holding his own is what he's doing. He actually goes and he tries a frontal assault, throwing some of his shuriken and his kunai at him, and it looks like some of them get deflected back or thrown back. And as Kakashi's telling him that a frontal assault is useless, the next thing he's like, a trap, and you see Sasuke go and actually get around behind him once, and then it's kind of cool because he actually does. He gets around behind him, he gets up close to him, and is trying to attack him, and use hand-to-hand techniques, it looks like. And even though Kakashi is getting the upper hand on him, his ultimate goal is to get that damn bell, one of those two bells that are hanging there. Because if you remember, nobody gets to eat lunch until they get the bells, and there's only 2 bells, there's 3 people, and nobody's eating any breakfast. Everybody's, hungry, it's going on noon, and they got a time limit, of course. They have to do this, retrieve this bell or bells before noon. So it's actually kind of cool in a way. Everything's depicted and portrayed. He's trying to kick him, and it's getting blocked, and he punches, and it's getting blocked, and kind of goes to flip him over, and as Kakashi's going to kind of pull him over him, Sasuke goes and sees that bell and reaches for it, and it's right there, and it's ding, and he just like dings it but doesn't get it, and then he winds up getting thrown, thrown by Kakashi, and he's like, oh man. So then it goes and it takes us over briefly to Naruto, and he's still hanging upside down, and he can see from his advantageous position upside down in the tree. He winds up seeing off in the distance. He actually sees that the lunch boxes, the 2 lunch boxes, are on top of this boulder, on top of a crate on the boulder, And, and it's so funny because you can tell what he's thinking, right? I mean, he's like that guy. He likes to eat, what I mean? He's starving as it is, and he's a cool kid, but he likes to take shortcuts. I mean? That's at least what I get from him, anyways. That he's one that if there was a be all end all quick way to get to this, he would take it. He's the one that tries to look for the easy way. And so it's funny because he goes, the meaning within the meaning, right? Which was the big the big thing from last chapter that that Kakashi was trying to preach to him. And I can just tell him, like, oh boy, he's gonna go for those lunch boxes. So then it goes and it cuts away from him, and it actually shows Sakura. And we didn't know what happened to her last chapter. She just screamed, whatever. Well, that projection or that illusion of Sasuke, she thought that he was mortally wounded and everything. She freaking fainted, right? And I tell you, I don't know if the character, hopefully evolves as it goes on. But right now, boy, does she just, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. It just sort of irritates the shit out of me. And not so much just like the blind hatred for Naruto and just the, I want to fuck Sasuke. Just like the complete dim-wittedness of her. There's just, so far anyway, there's just nothing that I can think of that's a good redeeming quality about her. You know what I mean? She's not funny. She's not charming, endearing. But again, we're only 7 chapters in, so that opinion may change. That's just what I feel right now as of this chapter. So then it goes back to the fight, right, between Kakashi and Sasuke. And Sasuke means business, man. He's got that dark, brooding attitude, but it's really cool because he goes and he gets really pissed off, and he's gonna come at Kakashi again. And all of a sudden he goes and he's like horse, and then he's like fireball technique, and I'm like, whoa, hold on a second, a fireball. And even Kakashi goes and says in his head, he's like, what? He shouldn't have known that. You know, he says something about it. He shouldn't have known that. It's kind of like above where he should be right now, as far beyond where his chakra is right now. And these are a lot of new words that I'm kind of learning. Like, I've heard them before, but being put into this particular series, you know, so it's, so again, you know, if I screw up, it is what it is. I'll get better as the chapters progress. But so anyway, he goes and just, you know, and I mean, and Kakashi's kind of taken off, you know, taken aback for a second, right? And I mean, he just goes and lets loose of this thing. That's cool, double page spread, fireball spreading out. And Kakashi, of course, disappears. We just see this big wake and aftermath afterwards. And Sasuke immediately is like, where is he? Above me? You know, to the side, this and that. And then he's like, and then all of a sudden you see a little word bubble below, right? It's great, man. Some hands come up out of the ground, you know. And he says it's something so-and-so groundhog, earth something, groundhog technique, you know, groundhog decapitation technique. And you just kind of see in between panels, it goes from these hands coming out to it to Sasuke being pulled straight up into the hole that obviously, you know, Kakashi had been in, and nothing but Sasuke's head is sticking up above the hole, and Kakashi is just sitting there, just perched, you know, just sitting up there perched by him, and he's just like, yep. He's like, well, you know what? And then he explains to him, he's like, third technique of ninjutsu and this and that, you know. And he goes, but you were right about something. You're definitely head and shoulders better than the rest of the people, you know, the rest of your classmates. And I just thought that was great, you know. And anyway, as he's going to walk away, Kakashi's like, yeah, you know what they say about the nail the nail that's sticking out needs to be pounded or something like that, pounded down, you know. And he's like, and he walks away, and I'm just like, oh God. It's like on one hand he was patting him on the back, but on the other hand he was going and just like pouring salt in the wound, you know, because Sasuke seems to be very prideful, and you know, of course, well, to anybody, even if you don't have a lot of pride in what you do, I mean, who the hell wants to be embarrassed like that, you know? So yeah, you know, sorry bud, you failed, but you know, at least you're better than the other losers that I don't like and think much of either, you know. So I just thought it was very funny. And just a kind of a neat way of you know, introducing, kind of bringing some of these characters to the forefront a little more, and some of their backgrounds and just how they are, their mannerisms, things like that. So anyway, we then go and we see, because now obviously he's been taken care of, and Kakashi goes. Then we go back to Naruto, and of course, so he's sitting on the other side of this like box or this pedestal that the lunchbox is running. He's got both of them, and he's sitting there. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna eat both these up and this and that. And then all of a sudden, next panel, boom, Kakashi's perched up there, and he's just like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, nothing. He's like, duh, too late. So Naruto obviously got caught. Sasuke then goes, and she comes wandering out of the woods, and she's like, because she fainted, her head's still kind of swimming, she doesn't know what's going on, and she's thinking about, was it a dream, was it real, what was it that I saw when I saw Sasuke, was he actually hurt, I thought he was dead. So then all of a sudden she comes upon him in the middle of that kind of clearing, and it's just his head sticking out of it, and she's like, oh my God, she's like, he's been decapitated. I'm thinking, God, you dummy, you know. And Sasuke's like, what the hell? What was that for? You know, she's like, oh my God, it sounds like Sasuke's voice. He's talking, you know. So she just runs up, oh my God, you're not dead. She was thinking it was just a decapitated head, you know. And he's like, yeah, whatever, fine, you know. And because obviously she helped him out of the ground. So then it kind of goes into, and it doesn't explain anything about his past, but he's like, you know, I got to go get that, you know, he's like, I'm off. I got to go find Kakashi. It's almost noon. And she's like, well, you know, it's okay. We gave a good try. Shouldn't we just give up? And this and that. He's like, the bell was within my grasp. I can get it this time. And then he kind of starts going into this thing, and he's just like, I'm going to kill him. And she's like, what, Master Kakashi? Why? And that's obviously not who he's talking about. And he's like, he's made me cry. And she's like, what, you cried? And he's just like, and then he just kind of stops or whatever, you know. And so he's got this promise or this oath or whatever this deal is. He's got to kill somebody, you know. And I'm pretty sure that's what he's referring to. I highly doubt that he wants to kill Kakashi because he kind of made a fool of him a little bit. But who knows? He is very, very dark, angry character so far. But I'm pretty sure that's what he was referring to, because then he goes and he's just like, I have to beat him. I have to be better than him. And I think he's thinking in his mind that whoever this is that he's got to kill is that much better. And if he can't even go and take out his, you know, the shinobi that's teaching him, then he's certainly not going to stand a chance against this person that he has vowed to kill. And that's what I take from it anyway. So, you know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe not. So anyway, so he goes and you know, after he explains this to her, then all of a sudden, boom, you hear the bell go off, and it's, you know, it's noon or whatever, right? And the whole time Sakura, and this is why I don't really care for the character, she's basically just trying to give in. She's like, oh, we shouldn't do this, and maybe we shouldn't do it. She's talking herself out of it, you know what I mean? Out of even trying, right? And she never really tried to begin with, but that's kind of what bothers me about her, I think, you know? It's just like, how did you even get to this point right now? You know what I mean? You don't even seem like you have any will or determination, want, or desire to even want to do this, to want to get better, to want to become a shinobi, right? Anyway, that's just my opinion of her, and I'm sorry that it's low right now. Maybe it'll get higher as the series goes on. Who knows? Maybe I'll never like her. I don't know. But, so the chapter ends up shortly after that. Of course, the bell rings. Sasuke's pissed off. He's like, I shouldn't have wasted my breath, you know, because apparently talking to her for like that 8 seconds, you know, he thinks he could have done something that time. But anyway, then it goes and it shows 10 minutes later, and Sasuke and Sakura are to either side of Naruto, who is tied up to like a tree, you know, tree trunk or whatever, obviously for trying to steal the lunch boxes. And he's just like, I got good news for all of you today. He's like, the news is that none of you have to worry about going back to, you know, the training academy, right? And they're all like, yeah, that's great. Wow, we passed. Woo-hoo, you know? And even Sakura's like, even me when I fainted and everything else. And that's what I was thinking in my mind. I'm like, why the hell, if 2/3 of people normally fail this shit, why are you going to let these 3 pass? I mean, Naruto, I can see, hey, he's got potential. Sasuke obviously has some skill, right? But really? You know, Sakura? But anyway, so they're going in there, they're like, oh yeah, and this is great, this means, and he's just like, and then he finishes the sentence for him, he's like, you're all hopeless. You know, that's what he finishes the sentence with. They're like, this means, and he's like, you're all hopeless. He's like, no amount of schooling in the world would help you out at all, so you're never going to have to worry about that because you'll never be shinobi. And I was like, come on, man, talk about just, you know, pissing in somebody's Cheerios, man, raining on your parade, sticking the dick in the punch bowl. I don't care what you want to say about it. It just wasn't very nice, you know? And he's just like, oh, hopeless. More schooling would be pointless. None of you will ever be shinobi. And all of them are just like, you know? They're just, Sasuke's kind of brooding. Naruto's like, oh, this sucks. And Sakura, yeah, she looks a little surprised, but I think she might actually be happy. So, because she doesn't have to worry about this shit anymore. Anyway, that's how the volume ends off over here. And my chapter question for you, I know I asked in the last chapter, of course, what your thoughts were on Kakashi and how he was working with them and training them, if it was too hard, too soft, too what. But the question that I have for you in this chapter really is, what are your thoughts thus far on Sakura? Maybe I am being unfair to her, but again, my opinion doesn't matter. I want to know what you think, brothers and sisters. So leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation. If you'd like to see more of my artwork, go over and take a look on my Facebook or Instagram page.